Good afternoon, and welcome to the Voice of Wisdom. With over 60 years of experience as an investment banker, entrepreneur, venture capitalist, securities analyst, and advisor, Morty Davis is a Wall Street legend. In addition, Mr. Davis is an outstanding economist and highly articulate, incisive, and very entertaining political analyst and strategist. He's Wall Street and capitalism personified. The over 400 companies for which he has raised more than $3 billion over the years have created a countless number of jobs and exciting new products. Through the Voice of Wisdom, Mr. Davis explores, analyzes, and debates the most topical economic and social issues facing our world today. Joining Mr. Davis today for discussion on the stories making the news is Len Carter. Len is an investment banker, business consultant, and private investor. And now, Mr. Davis and Mr. Carter.
Welcome back. It's so great to be with you, as I have arranged to do. I cancel everything just to be with you every Wednesday at 6:30, no matter what. Although I have to tell you, I'm recording this Tuesday evening because my grandson is getting married tomorrow, so I can't be available. So sometimes major events occurred the day before, on the day or after we recorded it, and it's too late for me to edit. Something dramatic happens on Wednesday. I have to save that news and discussion of it for the following Wednesday. But anyway, I'm delighted as always to be back with you, my favorite people in the whole world, because as I tell you all the time, I get such incisive criticism from you all. Not all, from many of you. And even the ones that I find sometimes to be super critical. After I think about it, there's merit to, they're not just complaints or anything. They have some basis, and I get to think about it, and it helps me broaden my perspective. So whatever you do, I appreciate your contacting me and letting me know how you feel about what we talked about. And as I always start off by telling you that inevitably, overwhelmingly, our podcast, my podcast, is likely, overwhelmingly likely to depress the viewer, the listener, any people listening, because what we discuss is the news breaking events of the week. And it's sad to say, but the only news that gets attention in the media, that is breaking news, exciting news, is the more terrible the news is, the more likely it gets announced as breaking news, or gets the front page of the Times or the New York Post. So if something good, somebody calls up and says, my son or my daughter graduated summa cum laude, the top of her class, and she graduated in 3 years instead of 4 years, and she was also elected president of her class, that's big news for the family and for her community, her friends, her classmates. Very impressive, but it's not newsworthy. So what we discuss are, mass slaughters, mass, what's it called? Mass
Shootings, mass shootings.
mass shooting, but they call it something else. Mass, all right. You get the idea, mass killings without provocation. shootings that occur against little kids in school, against people at church or synagogue, people at a party that, without any provocation. And a lot of people get killed and wounded. It's so sad, but for some reason that's the exciting stuff that makes the front pages of the Times and the Post and if you're on cable TV, it's announced at breaking news. It doesn't make the network news unless it's really, if a war breaks out or we lose some battle in a war, like December 7th, 1941. Most of you are too young to even remember that day, but it was a day of infamy, President Roosevelt said, because our battleships in
Pearl Harbor.
In Pearl Harbor. Well, that wasn't Hawaii, was it?
Yep. Yep.
Was it Hawaii? Well, Hawaii was not yet a state, but we had battleships in Hawaii, and many of our precious naval personnel, including the admirals, the captains, the draftees, were killed. It was a horrendous day. So things like that get announced on even on network stations that normally don't announce necessarily a mass shooting. First of all, because mass shootings in the United States, unfortunately, occur far too often. More than one a day in the United States. Unbelievable. We have so many guns out there. We have more guns in the hands of people, including younger people that have no sense of responsibility or might get angry and shoot at each other if they have a fight. We have far more guns in circulation amongst our population than there are people. We have 360 million people in the United States. There are at least 800 or more. Last I heard, it was 800. But that was years ago. So
it's like more than 2 guns a person.
More than 2 guns a person?
Yeah. Almost 3.
Well, like
one for each hand.
Like the old cowboys, it's more exciting.
Yeah.
No, but they have not like the old cowboys didn't have these sort of machine gun type.
A gun in the Wild West couldn't shoot 400 bullets a second.
So it's horror. You could cry when you hear it. They show pictures of kids coming out of school and their parents waiting for them, and people in church or synagogue that are just praying peacefully, and some neurotic person or some person that's angry at somebody at the school or at the church. Just talking about it makes me tear up. But that's the news. So I have to start out, as always, apologizing if I put you, as I tend to put people, into a depressive mood, a state of depression, by just discussing the events of the week. Although this week, for a change, we have what I consider some good news, because we had a settlement. It's not even settled yet, but a pending settlement is apparently in the offing of the shutdown of our country's economy and government and various benefits that we get from government, all the employees that work for government that are unavailable to us to respond to questions that we have, or to help us with our taxes, or file for businesses to want to register, even marriage certificates, if they're available through the government, federal government. So it's been very depressing, and people, it's very depressing as it takes away the what's it called, food stamps,
SNAP,
not snacks.
SNAP.
Takes away snacks too.
Yeah,
SNAP, supplemental nutritional assistance programs that helps the poorest people, the people who are most vulnerable, who might not have money to finish the week.
And that's not even such a small number.
Not a small number. I think I read 42 million people.
Yeah, that's not like a tiny piece of the population.
So if they don't get SNAP, they can't feed their kids, or they have to forego buying drugs or something. It's horrendous. But they finally settled that it's the longest shutdown of the government ever, without a war breaking out. Maybe the Civil War was the last time something like that happened. But it's been, how long has it been? Several months now, no?
It's been 6 weeks.
6 weeks?
30-something days, I think.
Yeah. So for the rest of the population that's not so dependent on the urgent needs that government provides for those on the lowest rung of the ladder, of the economic ladder, that depend on it for a matter of life and death, literally. It's heartbreaking, that they have to make a choice between paying their rent or getting evicted, or buying drugs that are necessary. They try to stall or lay off the purchase of the drugs that are necessary till the end of the month, when they get their next benefit of that gives them the SNAP funds to buy food. So it's been really very sad to watch what happens when they shut down the government, because it provides so many essential needs that we're not even aware of when everything's functioning and the government's working. So what do they call it? A shutdown? The shutdown has been agreed to as of, I think it was Sunday night.
Yeah, I think there was a vote where they got the 60 senators.
So that's good news. At least people are going to be able to get their food stamps or the various benefits that they receive from the federal government. Although interesting enough, it shows you some of the mentality of politicians, because they don't feel compelled to turn off that shutdown and give the people, or the essential, keep people getting paid. People don't get paid their salaries. The people who what's it called, that the FAA, that the ones that work,
Air traffic controllers.
the air traffic controller, that jeopardize all our lives when we fly, aren't getting paid. The people who have other essential,
The TSA workers that screen luggage
yeah,
when for bombs are getting paid.
and also certain security people that the government pays are not paid.
Yep.
Some of the air traffic controllers that are vital, as it is, even during the normal functioning of the airlines, we're suffering from a major deficiency of the number of airline traffic employees. We can't train them fast enough, but they're not getting paid now. So many of them, live hand to mouth, week to week, and if they don't get paid for a week, they're so desperate they've taken other jobs. And at least in this case, there was some sympathy for those those that need the salary desperately and are not getting it. They said they wouldn't fire them for not showing up for their duties if they took another job, because they're understanding that they're desperate for the income. But it's horrendous, the burden for the vast majority of Americans. It's not that desperate, but it's painful if you're starting a business and you're waiting for approval. There are many things that we don't realize on a day-to-day basis, that somebody that's starting a career as a chauffeur, driver, and can't get it because it's issued through the government, whatever. So it's been a very difficult time. So I say that's good news. But when I heard the comments, even today, it's 2 or 3 days afterwards, and it's not settled yet. It's just there's an agreement to work towards a settlement, and end this shutdown. So I heard the people that voted, Democrats that voted to cooperate with the Republicans to pass this action to open up again the government. The ones that were against, they're voting for their fellow Democrats voting for it, say, what did we get out of it? We shut down the government. We were out for weeks. And what did we get out of it? Like, it's so selfish, so self-serving. All they care about is how does it impact their ability to get reelected or something in the eyes of their constituents. Not that, thank God, we're able to feed kids and pay salaries to the federal government employees, and there are tons of federal government employees that depend on these checks to live. They're not really rewarded as the leading politicians are, if they have major positions, and they can even buy stocks on inside information to make extra money.
Well,
where other people that are doing the same things are sitting in jail. Congressman, they say, and Nancy Pelosi has become a multimillionaire because she buys stocks. If she goes to a meeting and she's on a committee, or she learns of a committee that just passed a law that gave a major contract to Boeing or Raytheon, some of the defense contractors, or to open a army base in some city, or some company that's going to get the contract. They run out and buy the stock, and as soon as it's announced to the public, other people run out when they hear that good news for the government, for the companies that receive those awards. And by the next day or 2 days when it's announced publicly, the stock runs up and they can sell it the next day or the next 2 days, or even hold it for months, because of the impact is felt over time. But the announcement itself provokes a rush to buy the given company that's awarded the contract. And a lot of companies are awarded part of the contract, because Boeing, when it gets a multi-billion contract, it gives out subcontracts throughout the 50 states. That's why Congress never, or rarely, in my book, or as far as my knowledge is concerned, they never rejected a proposal to increase the defense spending and award government federal defense spending to these very large companies and the contractors that serve them. So
in that regard, do you think that those senators who are saying, "What did we get out of this?" should they not have?
They were against the ones that voted to end it.
But
they wanted to continue.
They want to continue. The ones who are, you say, being selfish because they're not. So should they have just? Should they have just
vote for it.
Right, 30-something? Right.
They only needed 8 Democrats, the Republicans.
Yeah, 8 or 9, because one Republican, what's his name, voted against it. Rand Paul. He voted against his party.
Well, the other 8 for
so there are 52. There's 52 Republican senators. 51 voted for it. They needed 9 Democrats, so they must have gotten 9 Democrats.
So why do you specifically point to Rand?
Because he was one of the 52. He's the only one of the 52 Republicans who didn't vote in favor. So they needed one extra.
I didn't know Rand. Rand is a Republican.
Yeah, yeah, very big.
Yeah.
I don't know why he didn't vote for it. I think he's very much against increased spending in any dimension. So I think he's a very,
in general, he's an ornery.
Yeah.
He has his own battles.
Yeah.
So he's not a.
So then should this have even gotten to this point? I mean, the same people who are selfish now, saying we should have kept the fight going, were selfish on day one when the government went down, and they said, if we shut down the government, all these people are going to eventually be hurt. So
their justification was almost
millions are going to lose. Millions are going to lose health care.
Getting them to vote, because look at this landslide that the Democrats had, because they were on strike against the filibuster that delayed the vote. So they couldn't bring a vote in the Senate that would bring it up for a vote. You needed 60 votes when this, something of this nature, when the people who are unhappy with it determined to filibuster.
Mm-hmm.
But I say it was done with good value in mind, good values in mind, because they were asking the Republicans to the government's there were a couple of bills, a couple of legislative acts that had sunset agreements when they passed them several years ago, including the tax, the big tax,
Yeah, the first Trump tax cut in
the big
2017.
tax cut
Yep.
for the wealthy, mostly for the wealthy.
Yep. The tax reduction, the tax bracket reductions were set in that legislation to expire in 2025.
Yeah, and
And so if it weren't
voted
for this, they would have
but
gone
the
back
ones
up.
to supplement funds to states so that people could
Also had a sunset
could
provision
get,
right now.
had this sunset,
Yep.
and the Republicans have been against ACA, the Affordable Act.
Yep.
Uh,
CARE Act. Yep. So the question is, the one concession the Democrats
Affordable Caring Act.
Affordable Care Act. One concession the Democrats did get is the Republicans agreed to a vote, an actual vote.
They did. They still didn't agree to
do anything. They just agreed to a vote. But I think interesting is this a political strategy move? I think it is, because now there will be a vote specifically on this issue.
Yeah, but there's enough votes to pass it.
You think they're going to pass it in the Senate? They would need Republicans to okay it. I don't know if they're going to do that.
Oh, well, there's some Republicans that won't.
So if they're going to pass it in a month, why didn't they do it now? They're going to have a vote on whether to increase
it wouldn't
continue.
They didn't have enough.
They will in a month. Because they're in a month from now, they're going to have a vote as to whether or not to continue the subsidy. So you think that'll pass?
No, but the majority of the Republicans didn't want it to come to a vote.
Right.
They were afraid that it would pass. So they were stymieing it.
But you think that? So you think it will pass in a month?
Trump was still against it.
Yeah. So what do you think will happen in a month when they
get it passed? Well, I think they're going to at least get it to a vote, and then at least people will know who voted against.
That's what I think they're doing it for, because it's a political move to highlight. So then in the midterms, they can use that as look, your guy voted against this. Is this who you want to vote?
To come up for a vote.
Yeah.
And the second thing is...
But they agreed to do it, so we'll see what happens. We'll be here a month from now talking about it for sure.
just to discuss it. They repeatedly say there's no assurance that we will vote for it.
Right.
And there's also one thing that rarely happens. It never happens. There's one Democrat that was elected in Arizona that was supposed to be placed so her vote would count. And the Republicans who control the Senate held up the vote so her vote would make a difference because it lost by one vote or something. If you remember John McCain, when they tried to bury it in the past, it was the Republican.
Came down to his vote.
He came down to, and he was a Republican, and they asked him to vote against.
Right.
To cancel.
Who's more of a hardcore MAGA conservative than Marjorie Taylor Greene, and she's supporting the ACA subsidies because I think a lot of her constituency is probably benefits from. I mean, I think one of the moderate Democrats.
A member of her family.
Oh, really?
Is getting it.
It's interesting.
It makes a big difference if you
comes home.
If it affects you.
Yeah, that's why they say with the draft they should, require if you required a draft, then all the congressmen and senators who
a draft to serve in the military,
then all
during a war,
in
general, but especially
particularly, yes. Then maybe they'd think twice about sending troops to get killed if it were their kids.
Well, their kids get drafted, don't they?
They would. if we had a
No,
draft.
even in the Second World War.
Oh yeah, but that's why people point to why we should have
A draft.
selected service.
Well, that's another subject.
Yeah.
I'm in favor of a universal
But I think
draft, even if they don't serve. In other words, you should spend 2 years of your life, if you're an American citizen, serving your country. I could understand you don't want to kill people. It's not your nature, or you're too frightened, so you're going to run away, as they did during the Vietnam War. So many potential draftees ran off to Canada or other countries to avoid getting drafted. As a matter of fact, Donald Trump avoided getting drafted because
was it
he got
a health issue?
a
Yeah.
doctor's certification
Mm-hmm.
that he had some bad
Something with his
leg
foot or something.
Yeah.
I do think that's interesting how when it's a personal relation,
Yeah.
and I think in this case, or at least, and definitely a constituency, because they're the ones that vote them in and out. One of the moderate Democrats that voted in favor of this plan to reopen the government was Tim Kaine from Virginia. And that's no surprise. He ran with Hillary Clinton.
He was vice president, yeah.
Was
Hillary
right
Clinton in 2016.
Yes, and so it's not a surprise. He's a senator from Virginia. Virginia has a lot of people who work for the federal government.
Oh, yeah.
So
adjacent to
exactly. A lot of the suburbs, Arlington, all those live in Virginia. Yes. So
Virginia and also Maryland.
Yep. So it's not a surprise that his I'm sure he was getting a few phone calls from constituents.
Yeah.
You got to stop this because I need a paycheck. So,
but still, they hung out. It didn't bother them that all these essential people. Nothing is more essential than
right.
The airline.
Well, I think that
the
finally
airline, controllers.
Right. I mean,
it's a miracle we didn't have a crash.
Some say that the reduction in flights started at 4% and was going to go up to 10 in a couple of days from now was a move. The Department of Transportation said it was for safety reasons, but some skeptics say it was really political reasons because they were able to turn up the heat. And I mean, truly cause pain to a lot more people than just the ones not getting a paycheck, because hundreds of thousands of Americans fly for their businesses, for their livelihoods, for their...
Even if they got up on a plane, so many were canceled, so many were
And so that's
delayed.
When people really start to get annoyed, then they start calling their representatives and say, this has got to end. It's one thing when somebody, that you don't know is not getting food stamps, but it's another thing when your flight on an important business trip gets canceled and you're stuck.
It hurts.
Yes.
And other people are not affected by it.
Yeah. So
I wasn't taking any airplane trips during this shutdown period, so it didn't bother me. But it bothered me that it endangered all the people on all the planes, because as I said, even during normal times, we're deficient in the coverage. We have far too few airline control people. What do you call airline?
Air traffic controllers. Yeah. Yep. Yep.
Anyway, our guest started introducing his thinking before I introduced him. So I just want to say what a pleasure it is and a privilege it is for me to have Len Carter return once again. He's a brilliant professional. He could be a professor in any university is sensational, and he's so useful in a podcast because he adds so much expertise, and he's opinionated, so he doesn't hold back, which I want to punch him in the mouth sometimes, right in the nose, because he takes issue with some of my positions, and often he sounds too right, so I get upset, but he's a genius, and I want to welcome him back.
Thank you, Morty.
Thank you, even though you started ahead of the introduction. And also, as I said, what we discuss is likely, more than likely, overwhelmingly, to depress you because of the nature of the subjects we discuss, which is the news of the week that makes the headlines. And it's so depressing. The wars, airplane crashes that kill many these lunatics that go into schools and kill innocent little kids and people in church and people in synagogues and people in shopping centers without provocation. And so the point I was making, that the news that we discuss is of a nature that's dramatic. And since it's dramatic and it can make the headline, it seems to be necessarily all bad news. Good news doesn't make it. People give $100 million to a charity or to a school or a college or for scientific research. It doesn't make the headlines because it's not impactful enough. It's meaningful. It'll be somewhere in the newspaper, but it won't be a breaking news on cable television, or certainly not on network television. So I start off again by apologizing to all of you for the necessity in the process of this podcast, to bring up all the devastating, depressing events of the prior week, of the week just occurred. So since I do that, I like to point to you to a picture of the book, if you're watching on your screen, on your monitor. The name of the book is Happiness Guaranteed or Your Misery Back. And it's a super great book, not because I say so, but every comment that I've gotten since I issued the book publicly has been so positive. So I got so much thanks and appreciation as to how beneficial it's been to them and how constructive it is, how much it inspired them. It's changed their lives even. And so people that bought it, or people that learned of it, or people that acquired it through gifts or otherwise. So I've evolved to the point where, since it's also positive, I'm not concerned about having you return it if you're not happy with it. But I will encourage you to go out and run out, buy it, because if you find you acquired it either by purchasing it or even for a gift, I will send me the purchase slip, and the price on it, and I will send you double your money back. So that alone should make you happy. But the book contains all of the wisdom that I never finished the book because I was writing it 12 years. And then the only daughter, the only reason my daughter Rookie is on the cover as a co-writer is she said, Dad, it's so great. I read it twice. It's so fabulous. Why don't you get it out? I said, well, I'm looking if there's more stuff I could add. Because every day I find stuff like humor or jokes or uplifting stories, and all of the great philosophers, all of the wisdom of the Bible and the religious books and the priests and the rabbis and the great teachers, all the way back to Plato and now Aristotle and the Greek, the brilliant philosophers, teachers they were, and what launched me on it and made my life much more uplifting and fulfilling and enjoyable, or what's the word I always use? Not happy, but
Content?
content. Much more content, even during periods of failure or difficulties or even tragedies. There's no living through life for any length of time without avoiding some tragedies in one's life, or major failures or major disappointments. So when I was very young, I ran into a kind of book that I was looking for, The Power of Positive Thinking by Bishop, what's his first name? Bishop Clinton. Anyway, it was called The Power of Positive Thinking. He was a priest in mid-Manhattan of one of the top churches, House of Prayer. What was his first name?
Norman Vincent Peale.
Norman Vincent Peale, that's it. Norman Vincent Peale. And it made such a difference in the course of my life that I made up my mind that to the extent it helped me live a more uplifted, contented, inspired life and caused me to do good things for my fellow man and to try to get them the benefit of what I got from that book. And also, I found another one by Dale Carnegie, who was an inspirational writer. He wrote something called How to Win Friends and Influence People. If you never read it, I urge you to read it. Not just read it, but practice it. But he wrote a book, How to Stop Worrying and Start Living. The wisdom of that is encompassed in this book. So together with the humor and the jokes and the uplifting, inspirational stories, I try to encompass all of the great thinking on the subject of happiness. And when I say happiness, I don't mean the kind that so many of us think of as happiness when somebody has a fifth of a quart of vodka or scotch or 12 beers and is so happy and jumping around and laughing and slapping everybody around on the back. That seems to be happiness, but that's momentary. It's not real happiness. It's not contentment. And if anything, in most cases, after the effect wears off, you're really more depressed than you were before, and even the next morning you got a headache, and it does nothing good for you. And I don't even know why people indulge so much, but it's some way to get drugged and get the benefit of instant effect of drugs. So I'm talking about contentment that helps you live a better life, as it did me. Because positive thinking, really just the idea of thinking positive, even if an event isn't so great. If you look at it positively, you can look at it, the glass is half full or a quarter full, but you could take a positive outlook, even if negative. And the best thing about being positive is, at least before you suffer any of the negatives, during the period you're positive, you're very uplifted and feel good, instead of people that worry all the time, that think negatively and always think of the glass as half empty or all empty, and suffer. So there's no need to suffer when there's nothing wrong in your life. If there's something in the past, don't focus on it. It's, we all have had disappointments in the past, or failures in the past, or things that tend to depress us. Don't go back to those. Think positive. Say, what I'm doing now, I have the rest of my life. I'm going to work to make everything work out great. But if it doesn't, I'll still be positive until such negative event occurs. And then even when I look at the negative events, I will say to myself, some aspect of this is good. It failed, but I learned something. It failed, but I was able to do some good afterwards based on what I experienced. Can make other people that go through the same disappointment or devastation or tragedy, I can help uplift them from my own experience of being happy, of being positive. So it changed my life. And it was then that I decided that if I have one goal in life, I'm going to work to bring similar wisdom to my fellow man, to my children, to my wife, to all my loved ones, to my best friends, to all my friends, to my neighbors, to my fellow citizens, fellow countrymen, and all my fellow human beings throughout the earth. So that's when I decided to write a book like this. And over the years, I spent hours and hours and hours. I told you, 12 years. And I refused to finish it because I said, there must be more. But finally, my daughter said, it's so great. She read it twice. She said, Daddy, you got to give it to the world. And she added still other humor and other worthwhile, uplifting things. And I recommend it strongly to you. So even if we depress you during this podcast, by virtue of what we discuss, the tragedies and the disappointments and so forth, I urge you to run out, not walk out, not wait, but right after don't leave the podcast, but run out right afterwards and acquire a copy of the book. And I'm so sure, based on the feedback and the experience I've had so far, and without exception, I had no seriously negative feedback or criticism. There are those that don't appreciate every page in the book. It's 365 pages, one page for every day of the year. But most everybody that I've heard from, and I've heard from hundreds of people that said they benefited from it, they were inspired from it, they were uplifted from it, and they develop genuine, what was the word again?
Contentment.
Contentment, not momentary highs, but genuine contentment. Accordingly, I said, anybody that buys this book, send me the purchase price. Or even if they get it as a gift, if they get the purchase price from the person who sent it to them, and they don't feel uplifted or that it benefit for you. If you don't feel it benefits you and uplifts you and inspires you, send me the copy of the purchase slip and tell me that you didn't get what you expected out of it. You were looking forward to the inspirational recommendation that I'm making to you herewith. Send me back the purchase slip and I'll send you back double your purchase price, even if you got it as a gift. Get the purchase slip from your benefactor, the one who sent it to you, and send it to me, and I will send you double the price. That in itself should make you happy, because you'll double the money that you spend, and if you got it as a gift, you'll get double the money that he paid for it that you never spent. So you can't go. I never heard of a better deal than on television. They said, and you can keep the book. On television, they say you could keep the supplement or the drug if it didn't do what we told you it will do. And if you send back the jar or the bottle, even if you took most of it or all of it, we will send, and if you feel it wasn't helpful, send it back and we'll give you your money back. That's a good inducement for people to try it. But I'm giving you a better deal than anybody in that I send you back double what you paid or double the price that the person who gifted it to you. That should make you happy. But just don't go out and buy 400 books and get your money doubled. So, and as I tell you, the inspiration I give you, even in the short run, because I can't give you all the wisdom or even a significant amount of wisdom or the jokes or the humor in this short podcast, but I like to at least give you something to take away. So I'm saying what I urge you to do, I find it works dramatically. I did it with my kids. I did it with all my loved ones as I interacted with them as they were growing up around me. And they tried it and they developed such positive attitudes and benefits that I'm urging you to do the same. Figure out something that gives purpose to your life, meaning to your life, that makes every day exciting, not that you're just like a animal on the earth or a plant on the earth that exists because you were put here, but you look forward to each day with excitement as you're taking a step towards achieving that purpose, that goal, that dream. And once you do that, every time you go back to do it, even if it's disappointing, if you stick to it, you'll get it done. Providing you don't, as I had, aspirations to be an Elvis Presley singer or some superstar opera singer. I didn't have any of the talents. Pick something that's achievable within your capacity, within your talents. And you'd be surprised how many fabulous things, once you focus, that you're capable of working on and successfully inducing and accomplishing. So as Thomas Edison was telling some young man that came to him and said, "Mr. Edison, I can't get over you. How you never gave up. You never gave up. 1,000 times you failed, and you never gave up. How could you be so tenacious in the face of failure?" And Edison responded, "Young man, who told you I failed 1,000 times?" And he said, I heard it from my high school teacher. Everybody knows about it. In college, my professor brought it up as an example of working towards a goal, diligently towards a goal, and the satisfaction that it brings. So I know that you failed 1,000 times. He says, "Young man, they all got it wrong. You got it wrong. I never failed even once." They said, "Oh, don't be. You're just trying to be nice or constructive or whatever. I know you failed 1,000 times. Young man, I promise you I never failed once. 1,000 times I failed to complete the project. I was disappointed in the result that I pursued. But each time I failed, I felt I made one step closer to my ultimate objective. And it was maybe 1,000 times, maybe more. But in the end, because I persevered and I let each failure take me closer to teach me what didn't work, and I got to the ultimate goal that thrilled me, that thrilled my fellow man, that it's been one of the great additions to humanity, makes me proud, and you will too. If you pick something, spend time, think about it. Don't just after we hang up on this podcast, say, "Oh, here's what I want to do. Here's what." It's worth thinking about, because if you think about something that you really want to do, and then every time you go back, even after each failure, you'll feel that it's gratifying to go back because you're getting one step closer, one step closer. Okay? Do that, and you'll add tremendous contentment and purpose and inspiration to your life. So, as I said, the fastest way to do that, accomplish that, is run out. Don't walk out. Don't wait till tomorrow. But right after the podcast is over, run to the nearest bookstore, or you can get it electronically too, and start absorbing the wisdom that I gathered. Not me, because my capacity when I started this was limited. It was limited to the knowledge I got from the few books that I read, particularly, as I said, from the book The Power of Positive Thinking by Bishop uh,
Norman Vincent Peale.
Neil
Norman
Vincent Peale.
Yeah.
I thank God every day for letting me come across that book, and from Dale Carnegie, and How to Stop Worrying and Start Living. So do yourself a favor. Don't do me a favor, because I don't even keep the proceeds of the sale of these books. I give it to charity because that makes me happier. That's part of the secret of happiness too. Giving away your money to make other people happy, doing things, not only money, but doing things. One time when I was young, I helped a blind lady who was waiting to cross the street, and she was there every time the light changed before she even took over. So I said, "Could I help you across the street?" She said, "Please do." And I helped her across the street. I never got such a blessing and so much enthusiastic thanks. That kind of appreciation is worth more than any deal I closed that I made money on, believe me. So spend some time thinking about what would make you happy that's within your talent and capacity to achieve on something that you want to be Superman and you like to fly. You got to do something that is achievable, and you'd be surprised once you focus on it, the kind of miracles you can achieve once you focus. And then every time you get back to the work, just as Edison did after a failure, he punched the computer. I know those days didn't have a computer. He wrote down the ideas, discussed it in longhand, and then he realized that was the answer. But he knew that that step got him closer to his objective. So do that. So thank you so much for joining me. I know you're getting paid for consulting. He came out of after he graduated Harvard Business School with honors, he went to work for the #1 consulting firm in the world, that the major corporations and NGO, what
McKinsey and Company.
No, but the you consulted for government institutions, charities that had to be more effective too.
Yeah, mostly big corporations, but yep.
Mostly the major corporations that pay big fees to McKinsey, the #1 consulting firm in the world. So he normally gets paid thousands of dollars per hour. And he accommodates me because I beg him. It makes such a big difference. So thank you again.
Thank
Len,
you. I'll
for joining me.
be sure to be back. We've got a lot to talk about.
And providing your wisdom to my listeners. Anything you want to say, or you had enough?
So I look forward to continuing the conversation. So
let's take one subject.
We can.
We did discuss.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good recap and
we did discuss
what happened this week on the shutdown. So,
and the attitude of politicians who could care less, it seems, about their constituents, and only about their own, how it reflects on their chances to win another term. That seems to be the only thing that matters.
Well, they do know that they have to, appease or pander to their constituents, so or else they're not going to get reelected.
Well, it seems to have helped because the Democrats won big a week ago Tuesday. I think it was a week ago Tuesday.
Yep.
Literally a landslide, and even in Republican areas, because they took such a moral, appropriate, caring concern and locked down the government just so that the states would continue to get subsidies so that people could afford to pay for healthcare. And we learned quickly that as of November 1, the subsidies were ended by the Republicans. It had a sunset date, early November 1, 2025, and the major action that the Republicans passed and cared about that had a sunset and was going to expire, namely the big tax cuts, mostly for the wealthiest people, for those at the top, was really instantly reinstated for the future. But the ones subsidizing states to provide enough money to provide their citizens with funds to buy health insurance, they stopped. And right after November 1 was a time when we were entering I think within a week or two, the time when you had to renew your health care, and the cost of health care went up because that they had to pay more than, in many cases, more than 40%, and in some cases, double or quadruple. It made it impossible for those at the lowest end of the economy to even. So by taking that moral stand, even though the rest of society had to suffer some inconvenience or even worse, they won over the votes, the massive votes of the American population, and the Republicans who took the stance against renewing that, letting it end those subsidies to buy health insurance, were punished appropriately, in my belief, in my view, and suffered a major loss at the voting booth. So people should take a lesson. All of us should learn a lesson. If you take a moral, inspired approach to help your fellow man, you're going to win the public. If you help, if, for example, people are worried about the cost of the unaffordability of what they buy at the grocery, or the unaffordability of rent, they punish the politicians for not dealing with that. And so that was another major factor, because tariffs seem to have impacted. The full impact hasn't hit yet, because tariffs are, in effect, the tariffs a tax on your own citizenry. Because while the Chinese may pay the tariff, they raise the prices of the products they sell to Americans at dollar stores, or at Target, or at what's the biggest?
Or almost anywhere. Amazon. I mean, every single
Amazon. What's the biggest retailer in the United States?
Walmart.
Walmart. So if they dealt with that, and with the rent that keeps going up, and all of the things that have become regularly unaffordable, they'd be winners, and they'd be doing the right thing.
Yep. All right. So maybe next time we'll talk some more about affordability tariffs, some more presidential government policies. We got a lot.
Anyway, God bless you. Have a great week, a wonderful week. Have a wonderful every day of your life. Each day should be better than the day before for you and all your loved ones. God bless you. I look forward to meeting with you on our podcast a week from tonight at 6:30. Next Wednesday, 6:30. Every Wednesday, 6:30. Stay healthy and well, and stay upbeat, and learn to be content. Bye.